Hey folks, in this video I will quickly explain the Abyss gear system in Crimson Desert, which is one of the best ways to improve your character's power. Abyss gear are these spherical items that you can slot into your gear to obtain various passive or active effects. There are tens of Abyss gears you can find throughout the game, and you can see the full list of passive Abyss gear by checking the crafting substitution list at the Witch NPC. The difference between the active and passive Abyss gear is that the passive ones can be upgraded up to tier 4, while the active ones cannot be upgraded. Active effect Abyss gear are harder to find, and they are usually rewarded by defeating boss enemies, and most of the time they will give you the boss special skill as an effect which you can use yourself, which is pretty cool. You can only extract, embed or craft Abyss gear by talking to any of the Witch NPCs in the game. Even though you are formally introduced to the Witch questline in Chapter 5, where you have to find Elowen the Witch, there's another witch you can find much earlier in the game as soon as you reach Hernand. She is called Sylvia, and you can find her in a hidden cave outside Hernand city. She is not as strong as the other witches, so you can do everything here except craft Abyss gear, and she doesn't sell anything either, unlike the other witches. In Chapter 5, during the Black and White questline, you will be able to unlock the Elowen Witch, located in the Witch Woods area. Here you can embed, extract, create sockets, and even craft Abyss gear. Let's take all of these one by one and see how they work. Embed Abyss gear lets you insert Abyss gear into items with free slots. You just have to select the item and then the Abyss gear or gears you want to insert, and it's free of charge. Extract Abyss gear lets you extract Abyss gear from items by selecting the item and then choosing the Abyss gear or gears to extract free of charge. They will then be returned to your inventory as regular items. Create socket lets you add sockets to an item with locked sockets. You will notice while playing the game that some items will drop with sockets on them, but they will appear locked, meaning you can't insert Abyss gear into them until you unlock them. Some items might not have any sockets at all, neither locked or unlocked, and in that case they are simply useless because you can never insert Abyss gear into them. The number of maximum sockets an item can have depends on the item type. Weapons can have up to 5 sockets, armor can have up to 3, gloves, boots and shield can have up to 2, and helmet can have up to 1. The cloak is the only item that cannot have any Abyss gear slots. For these reasons, if you find a new weapon for example, you can tell if it's worth using if it has 5 Abyss gear slots or not. If it has less, such as 3 for example, do not invest into it. Keep in mind that unlocking Abyss gear slots costs silver. Craft Abyss gear lets you craft or synthesize passive Abyss gear. Crafting lets you create a tier 1 Abyss gear by consuming the required materials shown on the right side. When you first unlock Abyss gear crafting, you will only have recipes for haste, vigor and vitality, but you can then find recipes for Abyss gear throughout the game and by visiting the other witches that will let you craft even more Abyss gear. You can then use synthesis on the same Abyss gear that you have recipes for to create a tier 2 or tier 3 version by combining 2 identical Abyss gear of the previous tier. For example, you can create a Haste 2 Abyss gear by combining 2 Haste 1 gears. On the Special Synthesis tab, you can combine 2 different Abyss gear of tier 1, 2 or 3 to create a random Abyss gear. This random Abyss gear has a 50% chance to be of the same tier, 46% chance to be of the next tier, and 4% chance to be of greater tier. You can select which 2 Abyss gears you want to use as materials by selecting any of them from the list and then choosing a replacement from the list. Now, how do you find the best Abyss gear? You can do this by progressing the main quest. Some of the best Abyss gear are the ones you get by defeating boss enemies, more specifically the main story ones. These are complete game changers because they have very strong active effects. For example, on my current weapon I'm using Crow's Pursuit, which spawns crows whenever I attack, dealing damage to enemies around me. I got this one from the boss in Chapter 5 Part 2. I am also using Ground Surge, which shatters the ground in a frontal cone to deal massive damage. On my helmet I have Orbs of Lightning, which spawns lightning orbs when I use various lightning enhanced attacks, also very strong. I got all of these 3 Abyss gears by simply doing the main quest. All of these effects can be activated at the same time because with my build I am spamming the heavy attack, which activates Crow's Pursuit. Then I am using Turning Slash, which activates both the Ground Surge and the Orbs of Lightning effects, making for a devastating build. You can also go to your journal and check all the faction quests, and if you ever see a gear piece in the rewards list, these almost always have Abyss gears embedded, so you should definitely complete all of these quests. There is also a back alley shop in each major town area, and they always sell a strong Abyss gear. For the passive Abyss gears, you want to stack as much attack, critical rate and attack speed as you can. Don't worry too much about defense in this game, because you can delete enemies fairly easily with a good build. You should go and add sockets to all of your gear pieces and equip Abyss gears into them, including on weapons that you don't use too often, such as the bow, because passive effects will still count. For example, I have 2 attack and 3 critical rate Abyss gears on my bow, which is a huge damage boost. If you have 2 identical Abyss gears and you also have the crafting recipe unlocked, you should always synthesize them and slot them in, because you get the same effect while consuming just 1 slot. For example, I have movement speed 3 on my armor. You can check the total boosts in stats from your Abyss gear below your loadout. For example, I have level 4 on pretty much everything, with movement speed at level 5. Keep in mind that you don't have to immediately replace your current gear with a new item that drops with good Abyss gear equipped. Almost all items in this game are somewhat equal in stats when upgraded to the max level, so just choose a gear set that you like, such as a good looking armor set, and a weapon that suits your playstyle, and just keep extracting and embedding your most powerful Abyss gear into those pieces. Suppose you kill a boss and you get a cool weapon with a very strong Abyss gear equipped, but you don't want to switch to that weapon and you want to keep the current one you're using. Simply go to any witch, extract all the Abyss gear from it, add the one you want to your main weapon, and store the other weapon in your supply chest. You should always extract all the Abyss gear immediately from any item you get, store the item and also store the gear, or just go and synthesize it, or even craft a random Abyss gear using the ones you don't plan on ever using. Hopefully this video helps you understand the Abyss gear system and how to make your character stronger. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.